Hey everyone, this is my second attempt at this video because my battery died on my camera. So it was about a 12-minute lesson that is basically for naught now. Anyway, what this lesson is something I call a blade barrier, and I have called another technique the same thing in my single saber lessons. And this is the same, I call it the same thing because it kind of looks like the same thing to an extent. And what it is really is just simultaneous Obi-Ani flourishes. I think it's one of the most popular flourishes with two sabers. And if you don't know what it is, it's one of these. Okay. Again, I'm assuming that you have practiced this move with a single saber in each hand. Okay. If you have not, then I suggest you go back to my single saber lessons, find the Obi-Ani lesson, and then practice this move with a single saber in each hand, to where you can get it smooth, to where you can get it roughly close to your body without it flaring out to the back or to the front. And you want to be able to do that with each hand. Otherwise, if you try to do this move, you may be clacking either your blades, your hilts together, or whatever it is you're using. The way I start this move, well actually let me back up. There is a concept you want to have in this move, and that is to keep your hands pretty much opposite each other throughout the entire move, because this helps keep the blades and the hilts apart, and that's what keeps them from banging into each other. The closer your hands get, the more likely that is to happen. So you want to keep your hands pretty much on opposite sides of your body, which means you're trying to keep one blade in front and one blade in back throughout the entire move. Okay? So as one goes to the back, the other comes in front. One goes to the back, the other comes in front. And that's achieved by this motion. Okay? I'm severely over-exaggerating the turning of the body here, because when you're doing the move, you really don't need to turn the body that much. You know, right here I'm like angling probably 45 degrees to each side, if that. This is just to illustrate what I mean by keeping the hands opposite each other. And you do that with this move. The only difference is, with this move you're adding in those rolls and the turning of the wrists to get those flourishes. Okay? So, the way I start this move is both sabers pointing downwards to my sides. Okay? To start, one hand is going to tuck behind my leg, and my wrist is going to go to my hip. Okay? So from the back, starting both down, I usually start with my right blade. So my left is going to come behind my leg, and my wrist is going to rest against my hip. Okay? Now, as that happens, the other blade is going to come up and over in front, like that. So one behind, up and over. Now to continue that, as this blade comes towards the back, this blade is going to come to the front. Like that. If I was going the other direction, then this hand would tuck, and this hand would come up. And then that would start the move. Okay, so that's how to get momentum to start the move. To continue the move, you just basically reverse that movement. All this tucking of one hand is doing is basically separating your hands, like as I showed you. Okay, that's what this achieves. You're basically starting by separating your hands to opposite sides of your body, and then continuing from there. Again, I'm assuming you already know how to do this move with one saber, so I'm not going to get into the how-to of how to do that move. Now, I will say one of the most challenging aspects of this move is keeping a rhythm going. And by that I mean getting a pace set and sticking to that pace throughout the move. Because if you don't set a rhythm, your hands are going to be getting closer together and something is going to hit either in front of you or behind you. So there are a couple ways to set a pace for this. One is by keeping your hands on opposite sides of your body as much as possible. The other is keeping one blade in front, one blade behind you, trying to consciously do that. The best way I found, and this really comes when you've actually practiced this move enough to get it going fast, is the momentum of these moves comes from that upswing. Okay, so that. Okay, that's where the momentum comes for this flourish. If you're doing this at a certain speed, you'll hear a whipping of the air during that upswing. Okay. Now you're probably not going to be able to hear it, but trust me, it's there. If you're doing it with any certain speed, you will hear that whipping of the air. Now you can use that to help set a rhythm. So as I'm doing this, what I'm hearing is okay, and I can use that to help set a rhythm. Okay. Again, that's really kind of a bit more advanced way to help set a rhythm because you kind of have to be going faster with the move. I can hear it at this speed, it's just very faint. But again, I am using it to help me set a rhythm. And what it does is, it basically acts as like a metronome effect, I think is the word, which gives you that beat, 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 beat. So it kind of helps you set that rhythm for the move. And it tells you really where the other blade is. Because as you're coming into this, you know this blade is behind your back, ready to come in front. Okay, so that's kind of the more advanced way to set a rhythm. Another way of setting a rhythm is by the turning of your body. Again, it doesn't have to be a dramatic turn like this. You know, it can just be a slight angling of the body. You know, and the way I do it is I angle my body towards whichever saber is in front. So as I start, my right hand is in front, so I'm angled slightly to my right. Left hand comes in front, I switch to angle slightly to the left. Okay? And if I just start doing that without the sabers, I know exactly which saber should be in front. Okay? So I can easily start the move just by turning my body. Okay? Now when you're doing that, again, that helps set a rhythm. And your arms need to be pretty loose for this, I will say. If you're trying to keep your arms stiff or locked out, it's not going to happen. You want this move to stay as close to your body as possible. Your wrist and your grip need to be pretty loose as well. And you want a pretty firm stance with this. You don't want your feet to be close together. You don't want a massive stance. Again, shoulder width apart, but sturdy. You know, slightly bend the knees, and that helps with the turning of the body. Okay, and that helps you set that rhythm. So, again, it's not a complicated move to learn. It just requires, again, setting that pace and sticking to it. That's the key factor of this move, is keeping those hands separate from each other on opposite sides and keeping that rhythm going. Okay, that's what makes this move look good. That's what keeps you from getting the sabers together. And yeah, it's really all there is to cover with this move. It just takes practice. You know, start by practicing how to start the move. Okay. Another good way to do it, if I turn to the side, is just bringing one blade in front and one blade in back, horizontally, like that. Okay. At the same time. So one goes to the side and back, one goes to the side to the front. And you just bring them horizontally like that. Now what that does is it keeps your hands on opposite sides of the body, and it keeps one blade in front and one blade in back, which allows you to start the move. Okay. I was going the other way. It would look like that. Alright, so that's what I call the blade barrier. Again, it just takes practice. Start it slowly. Really work on setting that rhythm. And as you start to speed it up, listen very carefully for that whipping of the air as the blade comes in front and around. Because if you can hear that, that can really be used to set a pace. And it helps you stick to that pace. Okay. Also with the turning of the body, all of those are geared toward helping you set a rhythm for this move, which is the number one factor for getting this move to look good. Okay? So that's the blade barrier, which is basically simultaneous Obi-Ani spins, flourishes. Not sure if my second battery here is going to hold up, so I may have to cut filming for today, but I will see you in whichever lesson is the next one. So practice that. Very popular move. See you in the next one.